trèSci Weekly, episode 26. Today is Monday, July 31st, 2017. I'm one of your hosts, Jonathan Ullman, alongside two little ducklings, and Tom, the Quackmaster Kea.
What's up?
What's up, brother?
How's it going?
Good. How about you?
Doing well.
Are the ducks on the screen? Do we have confirmation? Are the ducks in the shot?
No.
They're just a
you
little
can't
bit.
see the ducks.
All right. Well, we have ducks now, everybody. I don't know why, but we do. It's just a thing now. Calculator off camera, Mush off camera behind him.
Always. It's always Monday, too.
Yeah.
Always.
Every day is Monday.
When you're a trèSci, every day is Monday.
Exactly. Tom, how was your week?
Good. Can't remember what I did, so it was probably pretty okay.
Yeah. Well, we did a library program on Wednesday.
Oh, yeah, that we did.
That
about
was
the
thing.
solar eclipse.
Yeah. So, Port Jeff Teen Center Library. If any of you guys are joining us for this broadcast, welcome.
Yeah, we were talking about the upcoming eclipse, which is on August 21st, which is actually finally almost here.
Yeah.
I've been talking about the eclipse with you for a long time.
I know.
It's finally almost here.
Yeah, it's pretty exciting.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm going to Tennessee, like I've said quite a few times, to check out the total solar eclipse.
Yeah, I really hope it's awesome for you. I think it's gonna be.
I'm gonna sacrifice like a pig or something. No, I'm just kidding. Jokes.
That would be wild. People would be like, "What are you doing? I'm just trying to see the celestial event."
All the families.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. In addition to that,
any noteworthy things?
Noteworthy things.
News articles we're not talking about? Not really.
Not really. I finally used the telescope.
Oh,
the new telescope last night for the first time on the spot, Tom.
For the first time.
Yeah.
With people.
So that was fun. It was good though. It all came together. The little navigation system on board, couldn't get that to work. So might have to do some troubleshooting. Might have to call the fine folks over at Orion to get that all up and operational. But yeah, it was pretty cool. Checked out Jupiter, checked out Saturn, checked out the moon.
Nice. They're all still there.
They're all still there.
Good.
All alive and good. So thank you guys for joining us. This is trèSci Weekly. This is our weekly video podcast where Tom and I will talk about science news topics that are trending in the kind of the networks out there. Talking about things that are maybe you saw passing in the news and want to know more about.
As well as stories from our subscribers and followers.
Absolutely, yeah, which we have a couple of to discuss this week, which I'm excited for. You can watch the show live as we do it on Monday nights at 8:30, like some of you guys are doing right now on our YouTube channel, or you can always watch it after the fact. The videos go up on our YouTube page immediately following. I trim them out a little bit so that you don't get the 15 minutes of us dancing around the music beforehand. And we would ask that you be so kind as to subscribe to us there as we try to grow the channel, provide more videos for you guys there. You can also support us by liking us on Facebook, facebook.com/trèSciWeekly, following us on Twitter at twitter.com/trèSciWeekly, and if you felt so inclined as to financially support us, you can go to patreon.com/trèSciWeekly and throw us a couple bones there if you'd like. Alrighty. Tom, let's get on into the news, because there are some really interesting developments happening, I think,
there are.
this week.
Where are we starting off?
So I think the most relevant story, the one that was getting the most major news network airtime, was about football this week, Tom.
Okay.
So
Everybody likes football, right?
Yeah.
Even the girls, because you could drink during the games, right? Everybody likes
I think that's true. All right. Number one. Autopsies conducted on a sample of deceased football players who had donated their brains to science research reveal that a degenerative brain disease was suffered during most of the players' lifetime. Known as chronic traumatic encephalopathy, this kind of sounds like snuffleupagus, but it's encephalopathy, or CTE, the disease is known to cause behavior and mood irregularity, and in severe cases can lead to memory loss and dementia.
So I actually saw a movie about this with my dad on his birthday. We saw the movie Concussion.
The Will Smith one?
Yeah, Will Smith is in it. And that's basically the story of him bringing this to light for the first time, that what we just mentioned, the encephalopathy.
Yeah, it's a tough word to say.
Yeah, that the chronic traumatic encephalopathy is common amongst football players, and he was trying to bring that into light.
Right.
And this is just an example of how prevalent it is in these players.
Yeah, so here we go. Quote from the study: among the 202 deceased brain donors, CTE was neuropathologically diagnosed in 177, including 0 of 2 pre-high school, 3 of 14 high school, 21%, 48 of 53 college, 91%, 9 of 14 semi-professional, 64%, 7 of 8 Canadian Football League, 88%, and 110 of 111 NFL, or 99% players, end quote.
So I guess the guys in the Canadian Football League are not as tough as the NFL. They didn't beat each other up enough.
Yeah, they're not hitting as hard, maybe.
That's wild, though. 110 out of the 111 players from the NFL.
Yeah.
Had this.
So I mean that's just a crazy statistic. 99%. I mean, we're talking almost everybody. But important to point out here, Tom, while the statistics are extremely high, it is important to say that a selection bias may be apparent here, since players and family members of players may have been much more inclined to donate their brain to the study if they suspected symptoms of the disease were prevalent.
Yeah, that's a good point, because the people who donated, like you said, they expected to have issues because of like mood things and things that they notice in their loved one.
Right, and so when you experience,
then you want to donate it to science.
Right, you experience that degenerative nature, and you say, all right, well, let's bring light to the situation, as much in the same vein as the movie, right? So you expect to see higher numbers, but I mean 99%, Tom, that's
it's a clear indication of what's going on.
Right. Behavioral neurologist Jesse Mez of Boston University School of Medicine and colleagues analyzed the brains for phosphorylated tau aggregation, or clumps of tau proteins, and were able to categorize the severity of CTE into 4 stages. And we have some images to show you, showing what those 4 stages would look like. So Kyle, if you wouldn't mind bringing up the first image there. This image shows stage 1 of CTE, showing you those tau clumps, those protein clumps in the brain that they were kind of doing the autopsy on. So you can see, a few clumps, and if they zoom in here on the right-hand side, that's zooming into 100 microns, or 100 micrometers, basically. You can see them a little bit more clearly. Stage 2, you start to see more clumps of these tau proteins, indicating a more severe case of brain degeneracy.
Yeah.
And then if we switch to the next image there, Kyle, we start to see stage 3 and stage 4, much more severity here. Many, many more clumps of these proteins, this buildup in the brain that leads to decreased brain function, and can ultimately basically cause dementia. And a lot of these players actually died from this exact thing. So, definitely a sad study, like this is...
Yeah, it's a sad way to go out when you get older. In the movie, they make it pretty traumatic when you watch it happen. It's quite the sight.
Yeah, I can imagine. So one more quote from the study here. The severity of CTE pathology was distributed across the highest level of play, with all former high school players having mild pathology, and the majority of former college, semi-professional, and professional players having severe pathology, end quote. So basically what they're saying there is that the further you get into making football your profession, right, the longer you play for, essentially, and kind of the caliber of the game at the highest level, the more severe case associations they were seeing with CTE, right? So, which makes sense. I mean, the hardest hits come from the kind of the largest players and, the highest quality of play. And if you're in the NFL, chances are you've been playing football for many, many years. So that makes the most sense. Yeah, there's build up there.
But it's still important to note that even at the high school level and lower, that there are cases of it found. So I think that's the main take-home message for me, because I think everybody sort of knows that going into the NFL, that's a risk you're taking.
For sure.
And I think that studies like this are important to show that even only playing up to high school can have these sort of effects on you, because there's all across the United States high school kids playing football right now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Definitely. No, I mean, I think that is the major takeaway as well. Just to finish up the little blurb here, unfortunately, there is no way to diagnose chronic traumatic encephalopathy while a patient is still alive. Until this becomes possible, researchers won't know how widespread the disease is among active football athletes or any other athletes or professions where repetitive head trauma is suffered, for that matter. An image credit goes to J. Mez et al. For the study photos that we showed there. Kayla Riley, my girlfriend, asks in the chat, is it's caused by having multiple concussions? So yes, it is just repetitive head trauma, not necessarily, it doesn't even necessarily need to be concussive each time, but if you have, very regular kind of hits to the head blows, this is how this happens. And I know she's asking because she's did a number on her cranium from snowboarding and other incidents as well. So
yeah, I've smacked my head around a few times.
Yeah, I mean, we've all done it, right? But it just goes to show you, this game, Tom, football
has lasting effects, right?
Yeah, and it's become a part of American culture now, to the point where it's ingrained in our society, right? Everybody loves football, like you just said. Everybody.
There's Pee-wee games. Every high school has a football team. It's probably the biggest part of high school.
Yeah.
It's
so what do we do about this? What do we do? There, like
thicker skulls. I'm not.
Seriously though, this can't continue on the way it is, because people are dying from it in time, right? Yeah. I mean, like, it would be, we tell the students during our solar astronomy library program, like, if you look at the sun with the naked eye, like, you might not go blind right away, but it's degenerative, right? Like, your eyesight will degenerate as you get older.
Yeah.
And I mean, this is the same sort of thing, right? Like, if you play football at a young age, pee-wee football, like, no big deal. Like, you're not going to just instantaneously die from it, but over time, you keep taking blows to the head,
and this
is what's going to happen. Like, now we know. So now what do we do about that?
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's tough to go from here,
Yeah. My personal opinion, get rid of football. I know it's unrealistic. I hate
everybody play soccer.
Well, soccer is no better, supposedly,
True, yeah.
because headers of the ball
are pretty bad.
Yeah, are just as critical a blow of that many repetitions.
Yeah,
so
you do head the ball a lot. True.
Yeah, so that's not really a viable solution either.
True.
I guess everybody just has to play baseball or something.
Yeah.
No, that's not realistic either.
Yeah, but you bring up a lot of good points. A lot to think about and take into account.
So, I know this was a big story for major news outlets. I used to watch ESPN a ton. Yeah. I haven't in years now really watched any ESPN. Are you still following kind of like sports broadcasting?
Not really.
Not so much. Because I was gonna ask, like, I didn't really see how maybe a news network like ESPN would cover this story.
They've covered things like this in the past.
Yeah.
And they've done a pretty good job on it.
Because I kind of want to know, like, what are the commissioners saying? Like, what do the players have to say about this? Like, what is the overall kind of mentality, the vibe of what to do about this problem? Because it's such a huge problem.
Yeah. I'm not sure. I mean, they have taken some measures in the professional level of, like, not allowing head-to-head contact and things like that.
Yeah.
So they've slowly been trying to help the situation out, but I don't know what you can really do at the end of the day.
Yeah. Tough to say. Yeah, I mean, do you envision football just becoming less and less of a contact sport as time goes on. I mean, it's almost gonna have to be, right?
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah. Interesting. Well, we'll see how it all develops.
We'll follow up.
Yeah. Karen Riley also says not just football, but boxing, MMA, etc. That is true, right?
Yeah, we bring up the argument, though, that why this is so relevant is that, like, not across every high school is there MMA and boxing really prevalent, right?
Right.
But football is everywhere.
Exactly. Yeah. So, yeah, as a boxer
really,
or an MMA
profession, that's like your career,
right?
At that point,
yeah.
As opposed to just playing high school throughout your life until college.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I guess,
but
right,
still, yeah.
There is an expectation of, like, you're going to get hit when you decide to play football, but, like, when you decide to become an MMA fighter, like, that's the whole point. Is
you're going to like, you hit until you get knocked out.
Definitely.
So,
yeah, like, you're definitely going to get hit. Yeah. So, I don't know.
Yeah.
Moving on. Number 2, an exomoon, or a moon orbiting an exoplanet, Tom. Or in other words, Tom, a moon orbiting a planet that orbits another star that is not the sun.
That's what an exomoon
That's what we're talking about with an exomoon. May have been discovered for the first time.
So we haven't heard of an exomoon up until now.
Correct. The findings come by way of astronomers Alex Teachey, David Kipping, and Alan R. Schmitt, who have been hunting for the existence of exomoons amidst Kepler Space Telescope data. The most promising candidate as of now is Kepler 165b1, whose light curve has portrayed, quote, moon-like dips during 3 separately observed transits. Right? And
so we're talking about transits again. So that's when the object goes in front of its sun, and that's how you know the existence of it by a dip in the luminosity or the brightness of that star.
Absolutely. I have a little GIF for us to bring up for what that means. So, Kyle, if you wouldn't mind bringing up the that little image there. So you can see as an exoplanet, right, kind of passes in front of its host star within the line of sight to us on Earth. Well, the brightness of that star is going to kind of dim out for a short period of time while the planet is in front of it.
Yep.
So that's how Kepler Space Telescope kind of analyzes the light from a bunch of different stars, and if it finds a regular pattern of this dimming...
That's how we've been finding exoplanets.
Exactly. And so now, the data from this candidate for the exomoon, right, for the star Kepler 165b1, I guess as it's denounced, I have an image to show you guys of what that looks like, what the light curve looks like, and this, of course, is courtesy of the study by Teachey, Kipping, and Schmitt. You can see these dips, right? These kind of like wings, right? And so in the top panel here, you see the dip happening just kind of slightly, and then a larger dip occurs where the planet is. They think that the exomoon is kind of leading, right, in its orbit. So
that's the first dip you get.
Right. So you get a small dimness to the star, and then as the planet kind of makes its way, then there's going to be a greater dip. In the second transit that they observed, you can see kind of the bump occurring like halfway through the dip, right? And then on the third one, they actually see those like wings, 2 slight dips on either side, right?
Okay.
So...
And you don't see that when you're usually just looking at an exoplanet.
Exactly, right? You usually just see one pronounced dip. So this is what is kind of leading these guys to believe that there might be an exomoon here. However, they weren't really ready to publicize this information yet, Tom.
Because they don't really know for sure.
Yeah, so this is where kind of the story gets a little bit more interesting. So strangely enough, the news and subsequent submission of a preprint publication to Archive were the result of speculation that arose over social media.
Good old social media.
Good old social media. Nothing is sacred, right? When a fellow astronomer noticed that Kipping had requested telescope time with the Hubble Space Telescope and then shared that information over Twitter, the word quickly spread that a major exomoon discovery announcement was probably in the pipeline. So as to remain transparent with the public, Kipping and colleagues decided to announce Kepler 1625b1 as the potential exomoon candidate, along with their plans to follow up with the Hubble observation of the next transit in October. If there is indeed an exomoon within this system, the researchers theorize it to be about the size of Neptune, orbiting a planet that is slightly larger than Jupiter in size, located approximately 4,000 light years away.
So this all sort of started because it got leaked that this guy knew he was requesting Hubble Space Telescope time, and he knew what he was looking for, so he implied that they found a candidate for an exomoon.
Right. So
and he put that story out there, and now everybody's sort of caught wind of it.
Exactly. Yeah. So Hubble Space Telescope, obviously a very powerful telescope.
It's not easy to you can't just go in there and get time
right.
for it.
Lots of astronomers want to use it, so you have to really have a good reason to request time for it. Knowing that Kipping was the exomoon guy, right?
That's what he's researching.
Yep, that's what his kind of research has always been about. Noticing him requesting time for Hubble Space Telescope piqued the interest of colleagues and said, "Oh, I betcha he found it." And that news then very quickly went viral, I guess you could say. And so the article that I was reading about this kind of phrased it as like the information leaked. And I thought that was such a strange way to put it, right? Because like science news doesn't
really leak.
Yeah, it's not like it's all just information at the end of the day, right? Like we're trying to just further humanity's knowledge about the universe around us. So like it's not like there's super private things at stake here. But I didn't really consider it until reading through the whole thing that like, well, somebody wants to be the first person to discover an exomoon.
Yeah.
And so this team of researchers is really trying to be that first group. And by having to publicize the candidate that they think is the best target to find that first exomoon.
Yeah, now everybody's kind of on that level playing field.
Exactly. It opens up the playing field, like
everybody
you said.
else to look at that as much as they can.
Yeah, so now it becomes a race to be the first to publish, almost.
And I'm sure that comes with nice things for you. If you publish a paper, it turns out to be peer-reviewed and found okay that you found an exomoon, that only means good things for you.
Yeah.
So everybody wants to be the one to discover it.
Correct, yeah. So I didn't really consider it from that regard until after the fact. So that's
it's like TMZ, man.
Yeah, seriously.
Gossip about exomoons.
Does that make us TMZ?
We might be actually.
All right, can I be the annoying guy that throws like paper clips around the office all day long? Yeah.
That show's kind of funny. All right.
Quote, "In this new era of exoplanetary science, it stands to reason that moons in extrasolar systems, so-called exomoons, should tell us a great deal about the commonality of the processes that shaped our solar system and may yield just as many surprises as their host planets before them. Just as the study of exoplanets has complicated our picture of planetary formation by revealing, for example, the existence of hot Jupiters, worlds without solar system analogs, so too might moons show us what else is possible and uproot conventional thinking about satellite formation mechanisms." End quote. And that comes from the publication. Image credit for the GIF goes to David Cortner for that nice little transit GIF that we showed, and image credit for the potential exomoon data, of course, goes to the study authors. So A. Teachey, D.M. Kipping, and A.R. Schmitt for that light curve data. Tom, what do you think, man?
Yeah. So I had a question for you. Like a Neptune-sized moon, that seems pretty crazy. So like you said at the end, kind of rethinking what we know about moons in general. Like what does that mean for moons? They can be that big of a size, I guess?
Yeah, I mean, as long as it's just a natural satellite, we would call it. Yeah, we would call it
orbiting the planet. Yeah. So a Neptune-sized moon or orbiting a Jupiter-sized planet.
Yeah, would be interesting to see like what the classification really ends up being denoted as with objects that are so comparable, I guess, in size in that sense. I mean, Jupiter is much more large than Neptune. But if...
Yeah, I guess considering their composition, what they're made up of, I could see them being called like a binary planet system or something like that.
Yeah, so I guess it depends on like where the center of mass that they're orbiting around. Is it still interior to the largest planet,
or is it
somewhere outside? And if they're both kind of going around this common point, then yeah, like you said, maybe it's more of like a binary planet system than a planet-moon system. Yeah, I mean...
But it's tough to know those details because this is so far away. And
yeah, 4,000 light years away. Definitely not easy to resolve
what's going on there, yeah.
Even planets at that size, planets that are Jupiter size, much less their moons at that point, even if they are Neptune-sized moons. So yeah, very interesting to see what will come of this next transit in October, where Hubble will kind of take a look and hopefully give us some more details about it.
So we'll follow up then with Hubble.
Yeah. Or they will.
They will. And then we'll tell you what they do.
Right, and then we'll follow up with what they do. Number 3, Tom. So, as we kind of mentioned at the top, with this show, we often like to promote you guys that watch the show to share with us the science news
that you
topics.
See on,
things that you see in the news with us, so that we can kind of know what you guys want us to talk about. But there's also a second motive to that, I guess, is that sometimes trending science topics that make their way around social media,
especially on Facebook,
especially
to the general public.
Yeah, for some reason Facebook is pretty bad about this. A lot of times that science is pretty inaccurate, and
yeah, whether it's inaccurate, skewed, exaggerated, just not face value science a lot of times.
So we did get a nice sharing of a picture, or kind of a, it wasn't really a full article,
like
but
post,
like a post, by Patty Smith, our friend Dan's mom, shared this with us. So I wanted to give some information about it. So it's about the meteor shower that is upcoming on August 12th, right? So the Perseid meteor shower will peak on August 12th, 2017. Usually one can see around 80 to 100 meteors per hour on a clear moonless night during the Perseid meteor shower. It's an annual meteor shower. It always occurs
each year.
Right, kind of around that time period. However, this year a bright waning gibbous moon will interfere with the darkness of the sky, making viewing conditions less than ideal. So we can expect to see, instead of 80 to 100 meteors per hour, maybe something like 40 or 50. Right?
Okay.
So just because the moon, it will be bright, and it will kind of make it so that
it's harder to see the other things.
Right, exactly. So here is the post that kind of circulated to us here.
Like sort of advertise this event.
Yeah. So, Kyle, if you don't mind bringing that up for me. It reads, astronomers have confirmed that there will be a meteor shower on the night of August 12th, 2017, which will be the brightest shower in human history.
Is that true?
Not quite. It will light up the whole sky, and night will appear as day.
That's just not
true. That's just not true either. It will be no doubt once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, as the next shower of such kinds will be after 96 years. I have no idea where they get that information from.
Because with the Perseid meteor shower, like you said, it happens each year in early August. Because what a meteor shower actually is the Earth traveling through debris in space. And a meteor could even be something dust-sized, passing through our atmosphere quickly and burning up.
Yep.
So a little tiny object like dust that we pass through each year. So in our orbit, when we reach the same part in our orbit, we're passing through the same dust and junk that's in space, burns up in our atmosphere, and then we call it a meteor shower.
Yeah.
So why would we have to wait 96 years to see the Perseid meteor shower again?
I don't know.
I don't know where you come up with that. Not sure.
you can enjoy it in every part of the world. Don't miss. So there's a little watermark here from something called Knowledge Factory, which I think is the page that started sharing this. The page that it got shared to me on was, I forget it now actually, something called Mysterious Earth, right? Mysterious or something like Earth, that.
Yeah.
So I want to say thank you to Patty Smith for sharing this information with us so we can clarify what is actually going to happen with the Perseid meteor shower. And I want to say shame on you, Knowledge Factory and Mysterious Earth, for
just spewing nonsense.
Yeah, for just making this like a totally overhyped thing, because now people are going to go outside and expect to see what is like kind of in the image here, and it's going to let them down, right? Because that's not what you're going to see. So, you know, that's kind of, it's disingenuous, but it's like, I guess, harmlessly disingenuous, right? Nobody really, the worst thing that's going to happen is you stay up late and you don't see something as spectacular as you think it's going to be.
And just a little misinformation. That's all.
Number 4, Tom, gets a little bit more disingenuous, right? So I'm going to start with the disingenuous thing, and then we'll follow it up with the study that is actually taking place here, right?
Okay.
So my dad emailed us as well, and he shared with us a website that he had heard about, a company in Germany that is claiming to be able to do some extraordinary things with stem cells, right? The company is called Teachey, right? And Kyle, if you don't mind bringing up the webpage, I'd like to kind of just run through what their claim is, and then talk about where we stand with actual stem cell research as of right now, right? So the webpage here, Teachey's webpage, the little tagline says, "Back up your life," right? So they say, store your own stem cells today for tomorrow. With your decision, you will be amongst those who are already open to all future medical options. Our exclusive service contains obtaining the stem cells from the skin, preparation, cryogenic storage and conservation of the skin tissue with the stem cells contained therein. Sounds like an interesting service.
Yeah.
Tom, why might you want to graft your own skin cells off of your body and store them? What might that do for you?
I mean, what do people think it'll do for them, or
what do you think Teachey thinks people think it's going to do for them?
Yeah, so I guess what they're trying to say is that if we can take some of your skin stem cells down the line, when we make more advances in stem cell research, we might be able to help cure some degenerative diseases by already having some of your younger frozen stem cells.
Okay.
That's sort of what they're playing at.
So, is this something that people should be aware of? Is this possible? Like, what are stem cells, just for those who maybe don't know exactly what we're talking about?
Yeah, so stem cells have the ability to turn into, like, grow into the type of tissue that you need them to be.
Okay.
But I think it needs to be the specific type of stem cell you have, whereas if you have skin stem cells, you can graft them into to become new skin cells when you need them.
Okay.
And like growing new parts of your heart and things in your bone marrow, things like that, you would use stem cells for. So for example, currently right now, what's often the case is when you have leukemia, you need chemotherapy. And when you have intense chemotherapy on your bones, you're also killing away your bone marrow.
Right.
So what they like to do is take stem cells from your bone marrow and then put those aside and leave those for when you need them later, as the chemotherapy is, basically eating away at your own bone marrow. So as you're killing the cancer with the chemotherapy, then you bring in your stem cells to help regrow your bone marrow.
Right.
So that's sort of how they're used right now in medicine.
but they're specific to the type of cell that they need to be, right? That's
that,
kind of where we're at right now so far.
As far as I know, I believe that is the case.
Okay.
Whereas you need the specific type of stem cell, so I'm not sure their claim with you just taking a skin stem cell and just using it in the future in any way possible. I think that's sort of a stretch.
So, back to trèSci then, right? So they list, how they go about doing a surgery to take a piece of skin from you and extract the skin stem cells.
And then try and make more of those stem cells and then eventually freeze those.
Freeze them so that you can use them at a later use. And they say here, application of stem cells in the case of medical need. We retrieve your stem cells as well as your tissue. If this case occurs, just get in touch with us. We assure that your tissue with the stem cells contained therein is available at the right place at the right time. So, and they charge you a fee, right? Obviously, they charge you a fee for the procedure to take the skin and to extract the stem cells from your skin. They charge you
per year of storage of your own skin.
Right. With the promise of that, well, when you need them, we'll have them ready for you. But currently, right now, there is almost nothing they can do
with those to help you medically right now,
except for maybe with your skin.
Just grafting just your skin using those skin stem cells. That's pretty much it.
So Kyle, if you wouldn't mind clicking on the disclaimer button there at the bottom of the page, I just want to read the first thing that's listed here under content. It says the trèSci GmbH reserves the right not to be responsible for the topicality, correctness, completeness, or quality of the information provided. Liability claims regarding damage caused by the use of any information provided, including any kind of information which is incomplete or incorrect, will therefore be rejected. All offers are not binding and without obligation. Parts of the pages or the complete publication, including all offers and information, might be extended, changed, or partly or completely deleted by the trèSci GmbH without separate announcement. Seems like a real shady operation going on here, Tom.
It does. So, Karen in the chat asked, do they give the cost? Sounds like a scam playing on people's fears.
So, I did some research because they do share some scientific publications on this website about stem cell research, none of which substantiate the claims that are being made of what they are providing as a service here, unfortunately. And then I did some digging to see, has anybody else realized how much of a scam that this really is? I want to give a shout out to Leonid Schneider, who wrote a piece about some research that he had done on trèSci, the company. I will share this article on our Facebook page so that you guys can all go ahead and read it.
Want to see what he has to say about it, because he was a stem cell researcher.
Exactly, and he basically posed as somebody interested in the service and
to see what it was about.
Tried to get some information on exactly how they plan to go about, helping you cure future diseases with unproven science.
Yeah, and I don't think we mentioned the cost yet, but do you want to bring that up now? Or?
So in the cost, kind of in this article, the costs that were being listed here were about 4,500 euros to
do the
initial skin grafting procedure, and then a 450 euro per month storage fee.
Was it per month or per year? I think it might have been per year.
Let me look really quickly. I thought it was per month, but I could be wrong.
Oh no, you just passed it up there. I saw 6,000 euros. That's for the...
That's, okay. So so maybe it was 6,000 euros.
To get the exact numbers. Yeah, I thought it was 6,000 euros for the procedure and then 450 euros per year of storage.
Let's do a quick Control F. You're right. 450 per year. So...
I mean, that's kind of a lot of money, right?
That's still a lot of money, yeah.
For something that's really not even in the works yet. So what I was kind of playing it out as, are they trying to take advantage of the fact that they're sort of saying that in the future we're going to develop better stem cell procedures and what we know about them and we can use them more? So get your stem cells covered now, and maybe down the line we have this knowledge and you can use it, If not, then you wasted some money. But on the off chance it does work, you might be able to have a procedure that helps you. It seems like that's not really how they're advertising it, though.
Right. So I think that's basically how they don't get in trouble.
Is that
right?
They're kind of saying that we're doing stem cell research. We think it's promising, and there's going to be advances made. So we're helping people save theirs now, just in case.
Yeah. But, I mean, you and I watched the video that Teachey puts out there.
That's not the message they're
That's
sending.
definitely not the message. I would share and watch the video with all of you guys, but I know we're going to get a copyright strike for sharing it.
Yeah.
And I don't think they'll be as lenient as others if I reach out to them.
Because it seems like they're kind of a little bit on the shady end of the operation right
yeah.
now.
So, but I will share that video. Well, I don't know. I don't know if I want to put it on our Facebook page either, because I don't really want to be associated with this company. Nonetheless, Tom, I wanted to bring everybody up to speed on where we do kind of sit with some stem cell research, because there was some news this week regarding it. So, number 4, really, right? Forget about Teachey, a bunch of scam artists over in Germany. Number 4, stem cell concentration in the hypothalamus has been linked to controlling the speed of aging in mice, according to a recent study by neuroendocrinologist Dongsheng Kai of the Albert Einstein College of Medicine in New York City and colleagues. So this is an actual study, right?
Okay.
This isn't baloney. This is really peer-reviewed and quite interesting. The study first looked at the number of stem cells in the hypothalamus, which is a region of the brain that regulates physiological processes such as body temperature, as a function of age in mice. As an individual mouse gets older, the researchers found that the number of stem cells drops to almost nothing. So next, the researchers wanted to test whether removing stem cells from younger to middle-aged mice would cause them to then age more quickly, right? So if we see that mice are naturally losing the stem cells that are located within the hypothalamus as they get older.
If we expedite that process, will they die quicker?
Right. So by genetically altering the mice to be reactive to a virus that effectively kills off hypothalamic stem cells, the researchers found that by dropping the number of stem cells by 70%, the lifespan would also drop by about 8% in the mice. Conversely, when the researchers then injected stem cells into the hypothalamus of middle-aged mice, their lifespans outperformed the control group by about 10%. Right? So removing 70% of those stem cells, you get an 8% shortened lifespan.
And then adding stem cells, you get a 10% longer.
Exactly. So there you go. I mean, something is really controlling this here.
So yeah, you hear about age treatments and things like that. So this might be a clue into the beginnings of discovering how the aging process is affected by stem cells in the hypothalamus region in the brain.
Right. So this works for mice, and here is a correlation, but you can't really just go off of correlations. You need to figure out what is happening here. And so a quote from the article, or the paper here: mechanistically, hypothalamic stem/progenitor cells contributed greatly to exosomal microRNAs in the cerebrospinal fluid, and these exosomal microRNAs decline during aging, whereas central treatment with healthy hypothalamic stem/progenitor cell-secreted exosomes led to the slowing of the aging. End quote. So
this is kind of the mechanism of how it's slowing the aging.
Exactly. So a lot of jargony words in that one.
Yeah.
But basically what they're saying is like, all right, we see a kind of direct give and take here with the concentration of those stem cells and the production of microRNA molecules that perform functions, right? We don't know exactly which functions are really in control of this aging process, but we're on to something here, right? So how exactly microRNAs contribute to slowing down the aging process, and whether these results would be applicable to humans, still remains in question, and is probably going to be part of many follow-up studies here. So Tom, I wanted to throw that out there because this is kind of where we're at as far as
in terms of what we're learning about stem cells and Teachey is sort of advertising for what this study kind of is first glimpsing into. Not even, we're nowhere near it yet. They're sort of already selling a product there.
Right. And wag of the finger, that's disingenuous, man. That's really not okay, because people are really banking on the fact that, like, all right, well, I'm good, man. I'm set for the future. I got my stem cells frozen, and when I need them, they're just going to be ready for me. And it's like, well, we haven't developed any methodology to, like,
use those,
helping you cure some ailment that you have. See how it all shakes out.
But another one in the chat, Karen, says, does it slow aging, reverse aging, or add years to your life? What this story is implying.
So by adding hypothalamic stem cells or to the hypothalamus,
adding stem cells to the hypothalamus,
you would inevitably slow down the
aging process, hence living longer.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And the opposite is true as well, right? If you remove those stem cells that sort of drop off in number over time naturally, if you speed that process up, you will age faster and your lifespan will be somewhat shorter.
Yep.
Right. So just to clarify that. So Tom, that's kind of all the news that I wanted to speak of, but there was another news item that you wanted to share with the good folks for Tom's Corner this week.
Yeah, I was following on Twitter the news about finding quote unquote building blocks of life on Titan, Saturn's moon. So if we want to just show the video that we have for that.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we can sort of see what I'm talking about.
Let's do it up, my man. So that's for you.
Potential life on Titan. What do you think?
So this video comes by way of NASA Goddard's Twitter page and YouTube channel. So Kyle, you let me know when to hit play there, my man.
Where else might life exist in our solar system? That's a question that NASA scientists are trying to answer. An intriguing place we are studying is Saturn's largest moon, Titan. It's the only body in the solar system, other than Earth, to feature seas of liquid on its surface. But that liquid is methane instead of water. The cell membranes we have on Earth, part of our building blocks for life, could not form here. Previous computer simulations investigated which chemicals could be used to make cell-like membranes on Titan. It's been calculated that this molecule, acrylonitrile, is the best candidate to form the most stable membranes. What's exciting is that our team at NASA Goddard has now detected large amounts of this chemical in Titan's atmosphere using spectroscopic data from ALMA, the Atacama Large Millimeter Submillimeter Array, located in Chile. And since Titan has rain, a significant amount may be reaching the surface and ending up in Titan's vast lakes. More research is needed, but by definitively detecting this astrobiologically relevant molecule on Titan, we are another step closer to understanding how and where life could exist in our solar system.
Pretty cool there, Tom. Pretty cool.
Pretty cool.
So thanks to NASA Goddard and the team that made all those fancy, nice animations.
Yeah, they have a lot of good videos.
They
on
sure
their
do.
YouTube page.
And they never give us any flack for sharing any of them.
Yeah,
so that's nice too.
Appreciate sharing the knowledge.
So Tom, what do you make of this? Because they do say in there that cell membranes as we have in our bodies could not exist on Titan
because of the temperatures.
Right, but this analog to them, this acrylo, I forget even what the molecule was.
Yeah, it's hold on, let me bring it up.
Acrylonitrile.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's in their description. Acrylonitrile is kind of the best case scenario for something that would work just as well, or...
Yeah, so not something that would work just as well, but I think that under those conditions and with what they expect to be the concentration of the molecules, that this would be the substance that can form around certain like organelles or things that would be inside your cell that would allow them to be safe. Basically, the house of your cell would be made up of this under these conditions.
Okay.
Because like the video mentioned that it has methane, but under these extremely cold conditions, the methane actually exists in a liquid state.
Right.
So it's just a lot of different conditions for the chemistry. So under those conditions, normal cell membranes don't make sense, but this is the next best thing of what we think a cell membrane might be made up of.
Interesting.
And what I was reading, which is kind of interesting about this story, is that they predicted that this might be a thing on Titan before they ever even observed it being there. So they said under these chemical conditions, we would expect this compounds to be able to form cell membrane-like material. And now here they've directly observed this compound using spectroscopy and seeing it on Titan.
Gotcha. So
it's not really pointing to life or anything.
Sure.
It's just that we've seen that these sort of cell membranes could form because of this material that we see on Titan.
Right.
Sorry about that that motorcycle. But yeah, so that's sort of what they're saying, that under these conditions and the chemistry would allow a membrane to form out of these crazy sort of conditions.
That's very interesting. So if I'm understanding this correctly, the compound itself, acrylonitrile,
has nothing really to do with life. It just offers a home for what would potentially be life material to sort of have a place to exist, as we know as life generated on Earth in cells, which required membranes to form in the first place.
Okay. And theoretically, they looked at the temperature and conditions over at, what would be on Titan, and they said, okay, this compound theoretically could work
as a cell
like
membrane.
a membrane type type kind of housing for organelles, and that was thought to exist just based on the conditions, not with any observational data. And now here's the observational data that yes, this compound is there, and so it's likely that it would be configured into a cell membrane type.
Or
if possible.
They said if not a cell membrane, it just forms these like three-dimensional, like spherical things. That's sort of how they come together in that chemistry. So they just offer a shell for things to be inside of.
Interesting.
That's sort of what cell membranes did here on Earth. They just offered a nice, discrete, simple little place that all the things could get together and sort of find their way to become life.
Cool.
The little shelter.
And what's great is what they also mentioned in the video is that we already do know that it rains on Titan, so there is a mechanism for this compound to make its way from the atmosphere where we're seeing the spectral signature of it down to the
methane
surface,
oceans.
into those methane. I don't know if they're oceans, but they're lakes and seas and whatnot.
Yes.
But that's pretty exciting because life on Titan would just therefore necessarily be radically different from any life that we have here on Earth.
Just simply based on the cell membranes that would be there.
Right. And I'm sure that wouldn't be the only contributing factor that would cause it to be wildly different. Yeah. So that's
considering it's also like minus 200 degrees Celsius or something like that.
Something crazy. Very cold. Yeah,
they say it's usually about minus 178 degrees Celsius. So, yeah, it would just be radically different.
Interesting.
Yeah, but so the vinyl cyanide just happens to form these spherical-like shapes, and it could be the home for life on Titan, whatever it may be.
Awesome. So there's hope for us in the solar system yet.
To find our life friends.
Yes.
Even if they're weird balls of life.
Very cool. Anything else you wanted to share for this week, Tom, before we wrap it up?
Not that I could really think of.
Yeah, I think I'm all fresh out of ideas here as well.
Yeah, but it was cool to hear from your dad and Dan's mom just things that have come across them, and I would love our viewers who watch us live or later on in the fact to tag us throughout the week. You don't have to tag us only if you watch live. Anybody could tag us in anything that you see science related.
Absolutely. Yeah, and I really hope, I want to get the point across that, like, you know, I don't want us to feel like we're coming down as, like, the know-it-alls on our friends and family that share things with us as like, oh, no, this is wrong, this is wrong, this is wrong. We are really happy that you guys share these things with us, even if they are inaccurate, because it gives us a chance to clarify, I think, what is really happening at, you know, scientific research institutions and what actual scientists are working on, instead of these kind of glorified over-exaggerations of where we might be.
Yeah.
So I think that's important because, you know, there's a lot of fake news out there. Kyle.
I don't know if you heard.
All right, guys. So thanks again for watching. We'll be back next week with more science news for you. Remember to subscribe, like, and share things with us throughout the week. And we will see you next time.